Yo, what's going on, boys? It's your man back for another figure review. Now, today we have the Mezco PX Previews exclusive White Magneto. Now, this man, he came out, I think, from what I checked, around last year. He got released PX Previews. I don't know if that's an event or just like a release. But the Black Suit Spider-Man is also PX Previews. So I guess they do it maybe every year they do one. This guy, I actually really do like this figure, though. I'm not sure how accurate it is, or really what comic it's based off of. I know it's some sort of X-Men, something like that. But I really do like the costume, and the figure itself is pretty good. I do really like this figure. So moving this out the way, bringing in the box, more like the tin. I really do like these tins that Mezco does. Let me actually zoom out a little bit. I like the tins that Mezco does with their exclusive figures. I think they actually feel like they bring a lot of quality to the purchase, and even a lot more value too, because it's a big fat hunk of metal, and it's cool to display. Then on the back, we got some nice product shots, and I actually really do think that looks good, and I'm glad that they printed it onto the tin, or painted it, I guess. It's not a piece of paper, because that I do not like the Pokemon tins. I'm not a fan of that, because then it falls off. Bringing this guy back in here. For the paint and sculpt, or, well, I guess paint and cloth, I really do like it on this guy. I think the design for it looks really good. There's a lot of high detail. And the one thing I do know, and I heard from a person that lives with me, is he's supposed to have sleeves, but they cut it short. Which, on a Mezco figure, I'm not really minding that, because it just means the arm articulation won't get obstructed by material at all. But bringing it in for a look, the head, I think, looks amazing. I really like the way the helmet looks. I think the pearlescent paint looks very good. And the face sculpt isn't too bad in there either. Looks like a nice old man Magneto. Alright. Something's falling over here. Let me adjust. On the cape, I'm not sure what material this cape is, but I really do like it. I have no idea. It feels like some sort of seat material or something, but it feels nice, high quality, and I don't think it's going to really rip unless you do try to. The inside even has a different texture in it, like an actual cape. It's pretty cool. He did the collar at the top of the neck here. I'm not sure if it's supposed to come up or what, but out of the box it was mushed down. So I'm just going to leave it mushed down. The leotard, his clothing looks very good. I'm pretty sure that this is all just printed detail on it. And if you move the figures around a lot with the torso and everything, there is always going to be a chance that you could rip off the paint or scuff it up. So with these figures especially, I say always use the highest caution when you're using them. His belt here looks really good. Nice detail. And I think my favorite white is definitely the white on the hands and of the gauntlets. I think that's probably the best part of the figure. And the boots too. I really like the white on the boots. Alright. So the paint and sculpt is pretty good on this figure. The paint is great where it is, and the sculpt is also very nice where it's sculpted. And of course the clothing also looks very good. We've got to readjust the camera. Alright. For the articulation on this guy, bringing him in at the head, there's a ball joint so he can look up decent. Down gets a little inhibited by the collar and the pointy things on the helmet. Of course, there's 360 all the way around. There is a little bit of pivot because it's a ball joint, of course, and then you can get your all the way around. I do think ball joints are probably the best for head articulation, because you can just get expressive movements like tilting head and stuff like that. That's why I think that's always the best. Moving to the arms here. Head is ripped shoulder. Goes up to about 90. Of course, ooh, it's a little tight, but it goes all the way around. Ooh, crunchy. And now at the bicep, there is a swivel. All this articulation is lightly used, so it's a little tight. There's a double jointed elbow. Works really good. And then the one problem with this is it kind of goes out if you put the arm all the way straight. And I don't like the figures that do that, because it just upsets me. I'm sorry. But at the wrist here, we got a usual ball and hinge. If I could figure out which direction it's going, You can see it goes up and down. Of course, you can rotate it to get like your in and out, the usual with these kind of hand joints. At the torso here, it's, I think, a single crunch. It works all right. It could be a little better. Of course, for some reason, as usual, going back is much better than forward. He has a little bit of swivel. I'm actually not sure what joint it is in there. It might be the usual double ab articulation, but I can't really tell. And it's not like I could see it. So at the hips here, he kicks forward very nicely. Kicks back pretty all right. The material does inhibit the articulation at the legs, probably the worst, because this is the only part where it's really laid out like that. This goes out a little all right to the side. Of course, you got your thigh swivel. Got a double jointed knee. That works pretty good even with the cloth, but this is where you have to be careful because overextending like this could make it so when you come back, there could be wrinkles and stuff like that, and that's just not what you want. At the ankle here, there is a boot swivel, a little bit of a boot swivel. And at the ankle, actually this time, there's a normal ankle pivot, not too bad. A little bit of forward, and then some back. So the articulation on this figure is actually pretty decent. It's better, one of the better for Mezco, because I don't want to say it, but sometimes the cloth will inhibit the articulation by a lot and make it so it's pretty unusable in that way. Like, I think, well, I'll save it for the comparisons, but I think the black suit Spider-Man kind of falls from that, because when you're trying to pose him, you can't really get him in those Spider-Man poses because the cloth, it'll make the articulation worse, and then you have to worry about if you rip the cloth. It's just, if you're not into that, I don't recommend these figures. But moving on to accessories, we'll get this guy out of the way. This is a part where I can 100% recommend these figures because the accessories are always great. So starting it off, I actually don't think I've mentioned these even once in any of my other Mezco reviews, but they come with a plastic baggie that you can put all the accessories in. You can even write the name on it. You know, if you got a bag of bags, you can tell which bag is which. Which I usually do like these accessories. It's just a little bit extra that they didn't really need to do, but I like when they do it. It's just like the tin, it's a little extra. We'll also get this out of the way quick because I usually forget. He comes with a nice big flight stand. You can see compared to him, it's actually huge. Usually flight stands aren't this big, but if there's something you want this flight stand to do, it can do it. That's pretty much what it is. It's a great flight stand, despite the size. And they usually have cool bases. We'll pull this out. They usually have cool bases that has something to do with the character. The Jason one was the poster for part 3, which is really cool. And I think I might have shown it in the pictures or in the video, but I'm not sure. I wish I would have, because I actually forget to mention a lot of this stuff sometimes. But moving on to the next item. We'll go over heads quick. He comes with this old man Magneto head, unmasked with no helmet on. I think this head actually does look really good. I'm a big fan of this head. It gives it that nice look, and it looks like Magneto too. The hair looks good. I really do like the paint on the hair. It looks perfect like old man hair. That's why I think Mezco does great jobs on their paint and sculpting. But sometimes the cloth can ruin it. So it's really, the cloth is good and bad. That's all I can say. So he comes with a pair of these hands. We're moving on to hands now. A pair of open hands. And the one problem with all of these Magneto hands is I feel like they're very small. Like, there's the hands, the open palm hands. I feel like the pinkies are very small too. It just looks a little weird. The paint is still really good though. It still has that white silver look, which I really like. Then he's got these like Kamehameha hands. But then again, the pinkies are very small and they look weird. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be like that or if that's just kind of how it came. The paint is still good on these though, and the hands change really easy. That's one of my favorite parts about Mezco figures, is you can just pull off the hand like that, and then just plop the next one in. Very easy hand changing systems. I don't know, I think it's the type of plastic they use, because it feels completely different, but whatever plastic they use works perfectly. The hand changes is nothing. It's not even like Like, some figures can be really bad changing the hands, and it even makes you not want to use them, but this is not the case here. All right, so moving on to, I guess, what you could call effects. We have his little magnet beam. Not sure what it's called. Get the hand on both of these. Yeah, there are one for each hand. It's both the same thing, just reversed. The hand gripping this thing, blasting it. And these magnets are indeed real. Oh, they do work like usual. The only problem is I didn't think about bringing anything to stick to it. So we'll just say these work. Maybe this is the light, right? It's stuck. Not really, but it's a magnet. You know what magnets do. I do actually, bring this back one more time. I really like the sculpt on these. I like the white going through around the magnets. I know you probably couldn't paint the magnets, but I think it would have been cool if they were the same color, because it kind of sticks out a lot. And I haven't posed him doing anything with these, like holding up. I was thinking you could do nails on this or something, screws. You could set up a cool scene of him shooting big, large metal objects at people. Sorry. This, again, really easy to put on. This is the right hand. You just clip it on like that. It's that easy. I haven't even warmed these hands up. None of that. Naturally out of the box, they're easy to put on. And now for his last accessory, he comes with this taking apart a gun effect. I think the detail on this one looks amazing. It's this big kind of mafuba tube. And then again, he's got the hand on the edge. And these hands even look a little bigger than the ones, not really, but they look a lot better. The pinky's a lot thicker, and these hands look a lot better than the ones they actually even gave us. But it's alright, because this effect is probably what you'll be using most of the time. You can see it again. I love the detail on it. There's literally the bullets coming out of the gun, all the gun pieces. I think this is probably his best effect. And the original Magneto does come with these. I think he came out last year too, maybe. But the original Magneto also comes with these exact same effects. And this one clips on like it's nothing. And then you can have him taking apart a gun. And his arm is strong enough to hold it up without a stand. So it's not like you're going to need an ugly stand there. He can do it all himself. It looks good too. Alright, so we'll get this guy back up and running. And we can go over some comparisons. Real quick, I actually forgot to say it, but in the cape, it does have a metal wire. There are two that run across both of these front parts, and there is actually a lot more cape than you might be thinking. There is a whole lot of cape. Let's get the whole wide cape shot here. And this is the one problem with the cape, I think, is that they put bendy wire in it, and it works really good. But I don't think they put enough, because there's one on this side and one on this side, and you can get it standing up and it'll look good. But then there's just so much cape in the back that doesn't stay up, and there's no other bendy wire. Like, there could have been a third one down the back, or there could have been one across the bottom or something. It would have just made it so much easier for cape flying poses and dashing poses, because there's just so much cape that the little bit of wire can't hold it up. But that's the only complaint I can really have about the cape, because other than that, it works really well and it looks really good. I think this is one of the better looking capes that naturally comes on figures, because a lot of companies don't really know how to do capes, but I think Mezco is pretty decent with them. So we'll go into some comparisons now. I just want to stand him up to the point where he won't fall off. So we'll start with some other Mezco figures. As my only other two Mezco figures, we've got Black Suit Spider-Man and Jason Voorhees. Let's go. Now this figure, the scaling is a little wonky, which I feel like Mezco probably does not scale from like line to line, like Marvel probably doesn't scale with Friday the 13th. So I'm not even going to be asking about that. But I think they all look great together. This is that same line, same energy kind of thing. That was a little cringe, but don't mind. They have the same look, and they all fit together, and I think Mezco is probably the best for that, because their figures look so specific. Like, I think the Jason looks great standing next to Magneto. because they're both in the clothing. The only problem is that it kind of messes it up with other figures. Like if you have Magneto next to, let's move this guy and say, switch him out for, ooh, almost dropped him, Revoltech Spider-Man. Now this guy, yep, I knew he was gonna fall. I had a premonition. But you can see with that they don't look as good next to each other because the Spider-Man is plastic and the Magneto is cloth. Let me move this light. I feel like the lighting's a little weird. Ooh. All right, never mind about the lighting. But you get my point here with the different lines looking different. I think that can affect sometimes when what you're looking for. Because some people could be looking for a very specific display and they want a Spider-Man that's in the black suit, but then they look through and there's not that many black suit Spider-Man. It could just change your mind if you want. Now moving on to some other kind of random comparisons. We've got Final Battle Thanos looking big over here. And I forgot to stand him up, so hold on 1 second so we can get an accurate comparison. We have Marvel Legends movie Venom. Let's go. Now, I do think he still looks good with other Marvel characters. I think he still fits in perfectly, and he gives off a good villain look. I think he has a perfect villain look. So if you're looking to get this guy for any random display, I think 100% would be definitely a recommend. Because this figure came out last year, and I got mine for below retail, which is amazing. So you can really still get this guy pretty easily and pretty cheaply too. So I'd 100% recommend him. Now I'll move this guy out the way. We'll get Venom out of here. And then for a little thing I've decided to start doing is I'm thinking at the end of these videos, I'm going to show off the figure for the next video. So this Gundam right here will be the next review coming eventually. And you can see he scales pretty nicely with Magneto. I think the white looks good. They could be a team maybe. I mean, Magneto is, I guess you could say, evil against metal, and that man is all metal. But never mind. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been White Magneto. I really think he is a good figure. If you like Mezco figures, you'll 100% like him. But if you don't like Mezco figures, then I don't know. Why are you even watching this video if you don't like Mezco figures? You know what? Get out of here. Leave the video now. But for everyone else, thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time when we review this Gundam guy right here. I'm going to start at the end of the review. If I have the figure I'm going to review next, I'm going to put it at the end like this in the comparisons, and I think it'll tie it up real nice. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hope you guys have a good day.